In this interview, joining us is a very, very authoritative voice on Pakistan and who has served in Pakistan as an Indian diplomat and who has headed the division which handles Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. Joining us is Mr. Yash Sinha. His full name is Yashwardhan Sinha, but all call him Yash Sinha ji. Thank you for joining us. And today we will discuss the whole plethora of what is happening at the AF-Pak and its implications. My starting question to you is, sir, we have seen a lot of hotting up at the Durand line, especially when the Afghan foreign minister was in India. We saw an airstrike from Pakistan in Afghanistan. How do you see this shaping up? Now the ceasefire is also, of course, there. But how do you see this conflict going?
Naveen, thank you for having me on your show. I think we must appreciate that the historical background of relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan have always been problematic. There have been phases of good relations, of course, especially during Taliban 1.0, or even before that, during the Mujahideen, when they fought against Soviet invasion at that point of time. But because of what the British did in creating a border, I would say in thin air really, the Durand line at the end of the 19th century, that was the genesis of problems between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Of course, Pakistan emerged only in 1947. The reason being that that line divides the Pashtuns, or as we know them, भारत में हम कहते हैं पठान, तो पश्तून जो होते हैं वो जो that is a line which
They don't agree with.
the Pashtuns don't, especially the Afghanistan doesn't recognize, and irrespective of who's in power, whether it is the Mujahideen or whether it was earlier Dawood and then later on the Taliban, they've always had problems with that line created by the British as a boundary between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And as I said, because Pathans or Pashtuns straddle both sides of that line. So when you see it in that context, you will realize that despite the fact that Pakistan literally midwifed the Taliban 1.0 and even Taliban 2.0, they supported, they hunt with the hounds and run with the hare. That is the Pakistan's policy all this while. And that is why, while they were pretending or ostensibly supporting the US and the NATO effort in Afghanistan, of course, they were hiding Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad. That's a different story. They've always played that double game. And they were actively supporting the Taliban. Taliban comes to power, and within months, if you remember DGISI, it was 2021, I think, in August, when the Americans withdrew, DGISI had gone to Kabul and proclaimed victory.
Yes.
And within a few months, that relationship strained. Why? It's because Pakistan has always treated Afghanistan as a fiefdom, as I would go so far as to say, like a colony. And of no proud nation, Afghanistan is a very proud nation with proud people, would accept that sort of treatment.
So right now the trigger is TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Do you think that that is the real reason, or they think that Taliban is now coming close to India? That may be the flare-up point?
No, obviously terrorism or extremism emanating from across the borders is problematic. And that is why when we talk about cross-border terrorism, we refer to that precisely. That is why India and Pakistan have such bad relations, because Pakistan is a state sponsor of terrorism. Similarly, the Frankenstein that Pakistan created in the 80s and 90s is now coming back to bite them, to hit them. So, I think it was Hillary Clinton who said that if you rear snakes in your backyard, they will bite you. That's precisely what's happening. Who is the TTP? What is the TTP? These are extremist elements that Pakistan and Pakistan's ISI encouraged, and now they have turned against their mentor. And as far as the Taliban is concerned, their ideology is all the same. Their ideology, whether it's the Afghan Taliban or the TTP or other extremist Islamic organizations, they have a similar ideology. So because of that, they find shelter and support in Afghanistan.
But don't you see, this time it's very intense. बहुत ज़्यादा खतरनाक इस बार का जो flare up दिख रहा है.
देखिए ये होता रहता है। अब काबुल जाके उन्होंने बॉम्ब किया जिस दिन हमारे वो शायद तालिबान के जो वो मुतक्की साहब दिल्ली आए हुए थे, तो शायद उस सब उसके एक दिन पहले या उसी दरमियान उन्होंने काबुल बॉम्ब किया। दे ट्राई टू असैसिनेट और टेक आउट द लीडर ऑफ द टीटीपी। तो देखिए वो तो होगा ही, होता रहेगा, क्योंकि जब तक आप दहशतगर्दी, टेररिज्म अगर आप सपोर्ट करोगे तो यही होगा आपका हाल। तो ये जब कहते हैं कि हम विक्टिम हैं, तो ये तो मैं समझता हूँ कि सबसे बड़ा एक ये आयरनी है कि आप कह रहे हैं कि आप विक्टिम हो टेररिज्म। जी, आप ज़रूर विक्टिम तो हो आप, मगर किसने शुरू किया? आप ही ने तो शुरू किया था।
Sir, giving some context to this, you have of course explained us the background, why it is happening. We see Balochistan now, we see POK now, all are raising their voices. The movements are getting stronger. We have seen that hijack of the train recently in Balochistan. Do you think Pakistan army, which has so far had a stronghold on the entire country, is losing this battle now, and country is just breaking up in a way?
You see, the Pakistan army, let's be clear, is a very strong and professional army. We should not underestimate it. However, their wrong policies and the policies of their government have encouraged what is called vociferous tendencies across Pakistan. Now, what's happening in POK again is not new. It may be coming to a boil. In Gilgit-Baltistan, I remember long ago there were problems where Pakistan was trying to impose its will. So they rule POK and Gilgit-Baltistan like colonies. And the people there do not want that. They want some amount of political freedoms which are not available to them. And again, it's an irony that the people of J&K in India have those political freedoms while in POK they're completely absent. So, if you see the POK constitution, the role of Islamabad is very clear. And then the army puts down these insurrections with an iron hand. Now, obviously, when there is no public support, then the army will find it increasingly difficult to impose its will on the populace. The only difference being that these areas are sparsely populated, and the sort of repression that has been unleashed by the Pakistan army is unimaginable. So I think, and the international community is by and large, not completely, by and large silent or ignoring that for whatever reason.
In Balochistan, sir?
Even in Balochistan, of course, the movement has been there for many years. The writ of the Pakistan government doesn't run in a large part of that province. And Balochistan, if you recall, even in 1947, the Khan of Kalat has refused to succeed to Pakistan. When they refused to secede to Pakistan, they were forcibly taken over. And the Khan of Kalat was forced to submit. So there's always been problems as far as Balochistan is concerned, and the denial of rights over the decades has made it even worse.
So your assessment is that Pakistan army is still strong and it's not losing grip on the country,
No, I will not say it's not losing its grip, but what I will say, it is strong, and it would be wrong, in my opinion, to presume that Pakistan is breaking up. It will not happen that soon. It may happen if these wrong policies, misguided policies continue, but then, there are also self-correcting mechanisms. Sometimes there's also, there is wariness. People get tired pursuing a cause, and if you crush it brutally, and as I said, population is very small, so it's not going to be easy. There are going to be more casualties and more
But sir, we have
deaths.
seen visuals of Pakistan Air Force bombing their own people in Balochistan.
But, that is something that happened. Even Zulfikar Ali Bhutto did that. This is not new. People, if I remember correctly, in the 70s, Bhutto used the Pakistani Air Force to strafe Balochistan, nationalists in Balochistan. So they have done this in the past, and they will do it again. They will try at any cost to retain Balochistan, and they will find scapegoats. Like India is a scapegoat. We don't even have a contiguous border with Balochistan, but then they accuse us of being responsible, supporting Balochistan. They accuse us of supporting the Taliban. The TTP to attack. How absurd can that be? Because what India stands for and what the Taliban stand for are antitheses. completely.
Sir, how does this go that Lashkar-e-Toiba, Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, these are supported by them? One terror group is opposed by them. As you said, it's full of irony. So now, what is their policy? It's a totally mix-up which is coming up. Like, are they supporting few terrorist groups, or there are good Taliban, bad Taliban, what used to be say, good terrorists or bad terrorists?
That is what exactly you hit the nail on the head. They distinguish between good and bad terrorists. जो हमारे हैं वो अच्छे हैं, जो हमारे खिलाफ हैं वो बुरे हैं. That is their philosophy, but they all come from the same source, the same madrasas, the same ideology. So now it's become very difficult for them to control. For instance, आपने लश्कर तैयबा का नाम लिया. आपने कभी सुना है कि लश्कर तैयबा या हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन ने पाकिस्तान आर्मी पे या पाकिस्तान हुकूमत सरकार पे कभी अटैक किया? नहीं, कभी नहीं. क्योंकि वो इनके अपने आदमी हैं, इनके ट्रेन किए हुए हैं, इन्हें पैसे दिए हुए हैं. कुछ ऐसे भी हैं जो इनसे अब खिलाफ हो गए, इनके खिलाफ हो गए हैं, क्योंकि कुछ आइडियोलॉजिकल, कुछ पर्सनल डिफरेंसेस रहे होंगे, तो अब वो स्प्लिट हो गए हैं, स्प्लिंटर ग्रुप्स बन गए हैं, अलग अलग टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हो गए हैं, कुछ some against the Pakistan government and some in support.
But do you think Operation Sindur has hit them very hard, and they have realized that now it will be difficult to carry on with the support of terrorism openly?
Naveen, I can't say exactly. I think the sites, we all know the sites that were hit in Bahawalpur, in Muridke, etc. We all know those sites. We also reports that, the Hafiz Saeed's family,
no, I think
Masood Azhar's family members were killed in the attack. So we don't know. That's what we read in the media, etc. And certainly I don't know the exact details. But the fact that we've hit those places, we have confirmation, satellite imagery. But what I think is even more is the damage we caused during Operation Sindur at key air bases in Pakistan. That took them, if I can use a slang word, Mickey out of them. And that is why they came suing for peace. Ceasefire क्यों मांगा इन्होंने? हमसे ceasefire के DGMO ने फ़ोन क्यों किया हमें? क्योंकि जो नूर खान एयरबेस, जहाँ मैं करीब 4 या 5 बार खुद लैंड कर चुका हूँ, वो PF चकलाला था, कहलाता था, वहाँ पर इनके कमांड कंट्रोल सेंटर्स और जो एयरबेस हैं, मुरीद में, और भी एयरबेसेस बहावलपुर, जहाँ जहाँ इन्होंने अटैक किया है, रहीम यार खान, और दैट हैज the damage may not have been very significant, though I believe some planes etc. and hangars were,
but the message is very deep.
But not only the message, the ability to strike unimpeded at the heart of Pakistan's defenses, a message has gone very clearly that if you repeat it, despite all the coordination with their ironclad brother and the support they got from them, the fact is that Operation Sindur in many ways was a game changer as far as messaging to Pakistan is concerned.
Sir, coming back to Afghanistan, our latest development has come that Afghanistan is also now, like we abolished this Indus Water Treaty. Now Afghanistan is also building, interestingly, a dam on Kumar River, so which will also affect the flow of water to Pakistan. So are we going to assume that Pakistan will be facing a lot of troubles and will be parched in coming days?
I mean, just to be clear, we didn't abolish the Indus Water Treaty. We kept it in abeyance.
Suspended.
We have kept it in abeyance. And so what is happening is we haven't stopped the water per se. And it's very difficult to stop the water. It's not like a tap that you switch on and off. But the impact is being slowly felt, especially when we divert waters for our own uses in India. Similarly, in Afghanistan, this whole area is very water stressed. And Pakistan, even India, Afghanistan, this whole region is water stressed. Now, if Afghanistan also blocks certain rivers, build dams, certain rivers, they will affect the flow into Pakistan. So that's going to create problems for Pakistan. And all this, till now, Afghanistan has not done it. The reason being that, you had good relations, you don't want to do it. But Afghanistan feels now that they need the water and they should not let the water flow into Pakistan. If you remember Salma Dam, which we built with great effort, it was something that the Soviets tried to build and failed. We now call the India-Afghan Friendship Dam.
Even the road, Ziranj Dalaram.
So I have traveled to that Chishte Sharif, where the Sufi saints used to come from. It was not easy. We had to take ANA helicopters to travel there. So there, which was quite inland from, say, Iran, but Iran was not happy that a dam was being built because the whole region is water stressed. And the dam that we built, if I remember correctly, was 52 megawatt. It was basically more for irrigation and
Small needs.
electric power and power. But it was in a very remote area in Afghanistan. So I think the fact is that these moves, I don't know what impact the building a dam on Kunar will be for Pakistan, but it certainly sends a message. And Pakistan must realize that it has to live peacefully with its neighbors, and it should follow policies that creates a conducive environment for peace, and most importantly for growth and development and growth of the people. And
Sir, how do you look at India coming closer to Taliban? Like, not only, if I cannot say closer, but restoring our relationship with them. We are now also opening up our mission fully. So
we are upgrading it.
We are
to an
upgrading
embassy
it, yes.
further.
So how do you look at it?
No, I think, you see, India and Afghanistan have always had close relations. People to people contacts have been excellent. Yes, during Taliban 1.0, things were interrupted, and you recall the hijackings, the Kandahar, IC-814. That was a culmination of, Taliban's policies, which were not favorable to India. It even harbored terrorist organizations who were who were used by the ISI and the Pakistan state against India. But things have changed. The reason why things have changed, and I'm reminded of a phrase, my enemy's enemy is my friend. So this is real politic. It doesn't mean that we share a common ideology or common principles. We're far from that. But where in mutual interest we can work together, Afghanistan and India. And mind you, the people of Afghanistan, I remember when I was head of division, there were a lot of surveys, Pew, Gallup, etc. India was the most favored partner for Afghanistan because we did so many
And
projects
I think
there.
also not only Afghanistan, but it traversed to even Iran. They love people to people is amazing.
True. So, but in Afghanistan in particular, the amount of effort we have and money we have spent in projects there, whether it's, I mentioned Salma Dam, the parliament in Kabul, the new parliament in Kabul, restoration of the store palaces, then the small high-impact development projects that we have done throughout Afghanistan, then for the agriculture sector in Afghanistan. So we've done a lot of good work. The Indira Gandhi Hospital, of course, was built much earlier. Yes. But what I'm trying to say is that the goodwill that exists in Afghanistan for India is immense, even today.
So it is redeemed now by this regime?
So if the government reaches out to us and we decide to work together to further the aspirations of our people, to realize the aspirations of our people, that's a good thing. And also a very clear message. You should see, our neighborhood is in turmoil. And if you see, there was a statement that somebody wants to occupy Bagram. They want to use. Now, can you imagine trying to use Pakistan to do that? That's what I believe they were because, the US is not going to send soldiers directly to fight again after withdrawing between the tail between their legs when they withdrew in 2021. Now, they're not going to go back again. So they want a proxy. Who is the proxy? The proxy for the United States has always been the Pakistan Army. And if the Pakistan Army thinks that they can just walk into Bagram and occupy it for their mentor, or, it's not going to happen. The other regional countries are not going to sit back idly and wait. So I think.
So you think that is the trigger of this?
I don't think that's necessarily a trigger.
This renewed.
I think there are many elements. This could be one, but the main thing is that Afghanistan feels threatened by Pakistan. The policies that Pakistan is following right now are anti-Afghan, and the government realizes it. Even though you see half the Taliban cabinet or more than half had at some point lived in Pakistan. They had people there, but Pakistan is throwing them out of Pakistan. And as a result, there is these tensions with Pakistan, which are now being reflected in Taliban's policy towards the other regional
So you think that
powers.
this ceasefire between Afghanistan and Pakistan is sustainable for long?
Well, both Turkey and Qatar, who've been trying to meddle in troubled waters, especially to Turkey, they've been trying to. So they have been successful so far in patching up. I've used the word patching up the differences. Whether this ceasefire will last, that's a different question. Because there are these inherent tensions, unless you resolve those inherent tensions, problems will persist.
So is it safe to say that Afghanistan has now, as if now, dumped Pakistan now?
You see, they are strong words to use, dumb, because these are all, in international relations,
Don't work like this.
Nothing is permanent.
Yes.
We can see that. I mean, when I was in Pakistan and the Taliban had just come to power, I was not in Pakistan when Kandahar took place. I'd already left by then. But I could never imagine the day will come when the Taliban foreign minister will be sitting in Delhi. So, there are no permanent friends, or for that matter, no permanent.
Situation, we can say that.
There are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, and they are permanent interests, countries' interests.
But did Afghanistan bring them on knees, do you say, right now in this conflict? Because it is amazing, the way they have reacted. And in fact, if you say, a lot of critics are saying that they have won the narrative war at least.
No, you see, as far as the fact that they've been able to inflict damage on Pakistan, kill Pakistani officers, army officers and soldiers, is by itself, evidence of the fact that they put up a tough fight. Now, you can't say who won, who lost in such a sort of brief skirmish, or I wouldn't call it a skirmish, an encounter. But the fact is that there are no pushovers. Don't forget that the Americans left a huge cache of weaponry, which is now fallen in the hands of Afghanistan. If you remember, Naveen, we used to talk about how the US was not solving the real problem, which was Pakistan, terrorism emanating from Pakistan. They were there from, say, 2001 or 2002 to 2021, almost 20 years. What did they do? And they leave behind a huge cache of weaponry, which is being used by these people now. And is going to create, and already creating, instability in the region.
Sir, I was just, when researching for this interview, I just saw the Foreign Minister of Pakistan. He's accusing India, as you said, that India is trying to create ferment trouble inside Pakistan, in the Balochistan also, and now via Taliban. So, do you think this world will buy this, what they're saying?
The problem is not the word, because the Pakistanis are very good at lying. Their narrative is full of lies and with so much bluster that it almost sounds convincing. But the best part is that their foreign minister says something and the Afghan defense minister contradicts him. So, this war of narratives will continue. And Pakistan, when they are unable to control a situation, they always blame India for...
even the train hijack which happened,
yes,
they are blaming India for that.
So they keep... And, even I remember 10, 12 years ago, they tried to come up with a dossier on so-called Indian interference involvement. It was a sham. It was quite a joke, to the press clippings from the Pakistani media.
At one point of time, huge presence of India in Afghanistan was disturbing them.
But, that presence, it was huge in terms of what?
Civilian help.
In terms of development projects. People were building roads, building dams, and that also we were using local, as much as possible, local labor, local expertise, but that was available because it was a war-torn country. So obviously we had to send in. I recall when I was the head of division, they accused us of having, 52 or 62 consulates. Yes. I mean, it was a joke, bizarre. The Americans knew it was a joke, everybody knew it was a joke, but they would repeat that lie. So common Pakistani would believe that we had 52 consulates.
So do you think we are going to restore that kind of civil help, our programs in welfare of Afghans after this?
I don't think we can go back to that level, certainly not in the immediate future, because there are other issues involved there, in terms of security, security for our people to go there, etc. So what happened during that period, 2002 to 2020 or so, was in many ways unique. And the government of India was more than generous. The people of India were more than generous in trying to rebuild as part of the larger international community effort. But the best part is that while our projects remain, and none of them have really come under attack, as far as I know, by the the terrorists or by the when the Taliban took over, there was some worry that they may target some of our projects, but they haven't, because our projects are helping the local people, and they are being envisaged on the basis of requests received from the government of Afghanistan. We don't impose our projects. We don't say we want to build something in place X. The local government, this is our philosophy of our development cooperation partnership, that we never impose. The local government, the host government, they request us to do a project, and if we can do it, we take it on. If we can't do it, we tell them, I'm sorry, we can't do it for you. So, it depends. So that is the difference between our aid and, say, Chinese assistance or some other countries that assist or give development aid.
My last leg of this question, sir. America has now, after the Operation Sindur, America, we have seen, has come very close to Pakistan. Their chief of army staff has been called there, and we are seeing some kind of a coziness which was not there from last 2 decades, when India also shared a good relation with them. Do you see this as a temporary phase, or do you see this as a larger strategic plan for the region? And secondly, the second part of the question is, we have seen China-Pakistan all-weather friendship. Will it impact that as well?
See, that's a very interesting question and not a very easy question to answer. See, as far as the US and Pakistan is concerned, we must again go back to history. Pakistan has always been close to the US. Even when Osama bin Laden was found in Abbottabad and eliminated by the Navy SEALs, US Navy SEALs, the relationship was at a low point, but it had not completely snapped. People were still talking at various levels to each other. And the reason being that Pakistan had joined various alliances, CETO, CENTO, Baghdad Pact, etc. in the 50s. And the links, institutional links built between, say, the Pentagon or the State Department and Pakistan, the Pakistan Army in this case, been very strong. It's been so strong that sometimes, you feel that Pakistan is like a client state. But there was an estrangement, and the utility for Pakistan went down when they withdrew from Afghanistan. And now Pakistan is again back. And I must say that, through some clever footwork, if I can put it, not diplomacy, footwork, they have managed to again invade themselves, pander to the interests of an administration or the family of the US president. I don't know. That's, I read in the papers too. So they've been able to, but whether this will last or not is because, they've got supposedly a lot of reserves.
What about the rare earth and all that?
Exactly. So, we wait and see. They will, I'm sure they have rare earth. India has rare earth. Many countries have, depending on what compound you're looking for. But the fact is that Pakistan has very much come back, I won't say center stage, but into focus. And that alliance with the US is again building up. My only hope is that the US does not supply any offensive weapons, because that will create further instability and damage decades of attempts by the US and India to build a good relationship. After all, the preeminent power in the region is India. India is the preeminent power in terms of size, population, and in terms of its economy.
And also to counter to China, which is a direct conflict to US.
Which is there, which is what the US said. But forget that for a moment. By itself, India has a weight which no other country has in the region, certainly not in South Asia. And look at the reports. Look at the IMF report, the latest IMF report. It's the Indian economy which is the sole bright spot in rather gloomy global sort of outlook. So I think whether that will, the US-Pakistan relationship, whether that will affect the relationship with China, it certainly will to some extent. Though I'm sure the Pakistanis and the Chinese are coordinating also, because after all, they are ironclad brothers. They both say, so their friendship is deeper than the deepest ocean and higher than the highest mountain. So I think they will be certainly coordinating their moves. But how Pakistan plays this game, they're very adept at it, playing all sides against each other, sometimes can also be counterproductive. So time will tell whether this ironclad relationship will withstand any, any sort of enhancement of relations between Pakistan and the US.
Sir, my last question to you. You served in Pakistan, I think, twice.
No, I served as a counselor in Pakistan between 1995 and 98. But before that, I was Deputy Secretary Pakistan for almost 3 years. And then I came back as Joint Secretary and then Additional Secretary, heading the Pakistan-Afghanistan Iran division for almost 4 years.
So, sir, how was your tenure in Pakistan? Any encounters with hostility there?
I think we had a lot of issues that happened at that time. But for that, we will need to do a separate interview on that. But anyway, it was a challenging, assignment. And but again, for a professional, it was something that you look forward to, the challenge. And in many ways, professionally, it was quite satisfying also. There were difficult times, very difficult times. I was there when our nuclear test took place in 1998. So at that time, and then the Pakistanis, they did their own nuclear test, and that was the end of my time. I was there, for instance, when the first Islamic Jihad attack took place, the precursor to Al-Qaeda. I think it was November 1995, the Egyptian embassy was blown up. It was only 100 meters away from our High Commission, the Indian High Commission.
So you heard the explosion?
And my younger son was studying in a play school right next to the Egyptian embassy, which was blown up. And the school was flattened. Fortunately, it was a single-story structure, and the teacher was very alert and asked the children to hide under the desk because there were two blasts. One to blast open the gate of the Egyptian embassy, and then the other, some Egyptian diplomats died. A friend of mine, Egyptian diplomat, was killed in that attack. But so one has lived through interesting times, change of government, etc. But it's an experience that helps you grow both as a person and professionally. And mind you, after that, I'll end up in New York, and within a few years, 9/11 takes place there. So, life of a diplomat is always interesting and challenging.
Quite interesting tenure, sir.
That's right. So
Thank you so much for talking to us. It was really a very good conversation with you, sir. And I think this will keep our viewers, give them a very, very informed opinion and clear picture about things, which is not very binary. It's always a very volatile.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for talking to us.